Hi there. I'm going to tell you about day 4 of the Sunny Balwani trial. And yes, they did pick a jury. And I'll tell you what's next. Opening statements. We'll talk about the jury and whether they used all their challenges and what's coming up next. Hi there. I'm Michele Hagan, legal analyst and former prosecutor. You may recognize me because I provided a lot of coverage on the Elizabeth Holmes case. So, in case you popped on this channel, who is Sunny Balwani? He is the defendant who is accused of the same 12 counts that Elizabeth Holmes was. He's the co-defendant of Elizabeth Holmes and the alleged co-conspirator. Elizabeth Holmes in January of 2022 was found guilty of 4 counts of fraud. 1 count of conspiring to defraud investors with Balwani and 3 counts of defrauding individual investors. So we'll see what happens. So Balwani's case, they got a jury. So let me give you some of the highlights. They took about 4 days to pick a jury. They questioned almost, not quite, but almost 100 jurors. And let me give you so they had quite a few jurors talking about just yesterday, talking about that they had been exposed to Hulu, or they had seen something on Theranos or on Elizabeth Holmes. And I'll just let you know that one of the jurors, says she got through 2.5 episodes of The Dropout, which is the Hulu series about Elizabeth Holmes. But she says she can't be unbiased. There was another juror who said that she watched 3 episodes of The Dropout accidentally. And it's a he, over the weekend with his girlfriend. And he didn't realize it was about the case, even though he had already been told not to do any research by the judge. And I think the judge was probably a little upset about that several of these jurors had been watching Hulu or had seen some coverage on HBO or on Reddit. Another juror said he read about the case on Reddit and Twitter, and that he worked in tech, so he thought it was an interesting topic. And that he said he saw constant ads on Facebook about the Dropout series, but he said he didn't watch it. There was another juror that said they found themselves in a catch-22 on the day that they were filling out the questionnaire because they had started watching a Law and Order episode about the Theranos and Elizabeth Holmes. And let's see, there was another juror who was works in the Santa Clara Police Department, and asked if she could give Balwani a fair trial. And she said she can be impartial. And she said, quote, "I've seen them get it right and I've seen them get it wrong." Then we had another juror, let me see, who was the juror who accidentally watched the 3 episodes of The Dropout over the weekend, right after they were already in the jury selection process. Turns out it was a probation officer, and said that he could also be impartial. There was, then they got into a bunch of questions about, had anybody heard, any of these jurors heard about the abuse claim that Elizabeth Holmes made against Balwani. Several raised their hand. One of the jurors said, in their opinion, that, quote, it was not favorable to the defendant, all these alleged abuse claim. So they had to ask that juror questions in private to figure out whether they could set that aside and be fair and impartial. And what was interesting is during this time when they were asking these jurors questions, Balwani was basically just writing notes, taking notes, and he didn't look at the jury throughout the judge's questioning, which, it's kind of interesting. See, here's the thing. Your client, you want your client to make the best impression with the jury, right? And so having eye contact with the jury might be important, but, I don't know what their strategy is. But if you have a defendant who kind of doesn't have any rapport, or doesn't look at a jury, I'm not saying that they would talk to the jury. I'm just saying that the jury needs to see your client. And if your client, he was, many times had his back to the jury. And again, that might be their strategy, but usually you want your defendant, to sit there and let the jury see your client, so that they know that the client is paying attention, the client is concerned, etc. So anyway, just a kind of an interesting observation. And let's see who didn't get on the panel. So do you think that the pregnant woman that I talked about, I think in highlight, was in the video regarding day 1 or day 2? The pregnant woman did make it. Remember the Ukrainian who was going to go, or the juror who was going to go to Ukraine to fight? He also didn't make the jury. He got excused. And then there was the other juror that was annoyed, and I also talked about that in the prior video. He didn't get on the panel either. So I guess he was the one, I think, who was moving, starting a new job. So he was annoyed to have, oh yeah, he's also the one that said he would be a menace during jury duty. So he got excused. So they're not on the panel. None of them are on the panel. And it looks like both sides did use all their peremptory challenges. So who was sworn in? What's the composition of the jury? Any ideas? 6 women and 6 men. 6 women and 6 men are in the panel of 12. How many alternates? We have 6 alternates. We have 2 women and 4 men. So we have 12 jurors, right? They're the ones who make the decision. They're the ones you have to have a unanimous verdict by 12 to convict. So those 12, so 6 women, 6 men. And then we have the alternates. We have 6 alternates. We have 2 women, 4 men. In the Holmes case, I think we had 5 alternates and 3 left. One was, she had was concerned about her religious or Buddhist beliefs, couldn't sit as a juror. She was excused. There's another juror who was doing Sudoku, was excused, and the third juror, I don't remember. I'll have to look at my notes. But anyway, so they have 6 alternates and Balwanis. Just in case anything happens, they can replace the panel of 12 with any one of those 6 alternates. So opening statements are next up. And what are opening statements about? It's going to be the prosecution goes first because it's their burden of proof. They need to stand up. They're going to get up and say what they think the evidence will show, outline what the evidence will show, and also what witnesses they may present, and lay out their case. Then the defense has an opportunity to make an opening statement. And again, these opening statements are not arguments. They're not supposed to be arguing. They're supposed to be stating what they think the evidence is going to show, right? And what witnesses, kind of give an overview of what the trial is going to look like, right? Okay, prosecution first, then the defense. Defense has an opportunity to give an opening statement. They can waive it, but most of the time they give an opening statement. So that'll probably be over the next day or so. So we'll see what happens, and we'll get an idea of what the defenses are going to be, right? We'll see what the defenses are going to be, and what the prosecution thinks their case is, and what the defense thinks their case is. Okay? So it should be very interesting. So stay tuned. I'll try to give the highlights as we go along. So please do leave a question or a comment. Thank you very much for subscribing, everyone. I really appreciate all the support. Keep subscribing, share, and like. And thank you very much for watching.